So we're here. We're bringing Jason on here because we want to talk about a game that one of the three of us have beaten, and that one person would be Jason. And it's a game called Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes,
we've been playing this game for weeks upon weeks, and this is a long game. I didn't think it was that long. It might not actually be that long. Because I mean, you powered through it, Jason, like real fast. But
how many hours?
Have not.
Since we were in this whole Corona state and quarantining, this game came out perfect timing for me because I had 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off at work. I haven't played a game like this in so long where I just wake up, play, take a break, like a 5-minute break to eat, and then jump back in and play. Like I am still addicted to it. Like you guys know, I started replaying the game, and I'm right at the same point that you guys are at. Something about a single story campaign, and this one just checks off all the boxes for me. It's just well written. The gameplay is just very satisfying. Like, you fight against these enemies and you're able to take them down, but if you make one small mistake, then that's it. You got to try to recover somehow. And I think I really enjoyed that aspect of the game.
The worst moment of my entire gameplay experience is when I go up to an enemy and I press the button to do a standoff, and then I mistime the standoff and don't kill him. I'm like, fuck, this is over. I'm dead. I'm going to die. Usually I can make it out okay, but it's definitely a rough one, especially if there's a hostage situation where there's like, they have somebody tied up. Like, that person's dead. They're not going to last. It's over.
Fucking Brett runs it. I will save you. No, don't.
I just imagine him yelling at him, "Hey, you're going to die. I'm sorry."
And then a brute shows up when I'm running over towards the guy that's attacking the hostage or whatever. I'm like, God, man, here's a brute. I'm so glad when I unlocked the was it a storm stance? Not what's the stance called that you do with the brutes? Because you have stone, water, wind.
Oh,
and there's a fourth one that you get for the brutes.
The moon.
Moon. There you go. Moon stance. That's
man. I don't even have the moon stance yet.
You haven't unlocked that yet?
No,
dude, that helps so much.
I haven't
with
killed enough leaders.
Bro.
I have stopped killing leaders. I'm just like I'm trying to just straight shot the story right now.
Dude, man, you're missing out. The moon stance is like life changing.
I keep water equipped the whole time. Best one to have, like fighting enemies, because the shield guys kind of slow me down from not using it. Then when you unlock the counter for spears or any stance, it helps out a lot with parrying. I wouldn't say counter, but parrying.
For those that don't know, Ghost of Tsushima is a game that was produced by Sucker Punch, who hasn't made a game since infamous Second Son that came out for the launch of PlayStation 4. Basically, we're the lead-in developer for the PlayStation 4 and then the closing out developer for PlayStation 4. Because if you look at like launch title or like, big name first party titles, they opened it and they closed it. And damn, did they do a good job with both of them.
Yeah,
Second Son was incredible. Ghost of Tsushima is incredible, but they're such different games. And that's what's amazing about it. But I mean, it took them 2013, I think, is when the last one came out. So like here we are 7 years later, and they're finally bringing out the next game. You can tell that they've spent so much time on it. You play as Jin, who's the main character, and right at the beginning of the game, the Mongols invade the island of Tsushima, and they capture your uncle. You start out with this very open-ended kind of process where you have to recruit soldiers to help you be able to take this castle. So you have to find all these different people, and you first don't think hardly anybody's alive, but you meet Yuna that rescues you essentially from dying. And it turns out she's a thief. She's from this small village like across the way. And then you team up with her, and you have this like weird inner struggle of, do I want to be a ghost stealth kind of person, or do I want to fight with honor, face people off? And you go back and forth with that. So how did y'all feel about how they kind of set this whole game up?
The inner struggle with Jin, I thought was very interesting, because you have enemies coming in here fighting without honor. He's basically I don't want to say stooping down to their level, but fighting fire with fire. And that conflict with the Jin is very interesting. I think Sucker Punch was actually going to play a little bit deeper into it with the decision making of being ghosts or being samurai. They took that away because it wasn't the story that they were trying to lead into. What decision you make turns out to be your power, the storyline of what happens. So I think they were doing that with Jin, but it just didn't work out how it was supposed to. His storyline was supposed to be he needs to be a ghost. He has to be a ghost. because that's the only way he's going to defeat these enemies. And I like that struggle. I like seeing him being a little upset about it, is trying to cope with something that he's so used to doing, the honorable thing, and it just didn't work out, and he needs to do something more. And what's honorable to him is saving people. That's his honor.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that struggle is really awesome. You have to go to the extremes in order to win, and yeah, I mean that's true. I like how they like you have to just do this, and that is the only way. But I do like that they give you the ability to decide, which route you kind of want to take when you actually go into battle. They really lean on that. You should go ghost. Once you get a certain point in the story, it's like you can get a new ghost ability. I just like going in there slashing people up.
Jason, how do you typically play? Do you feel like you lean more ghost, or do you lean more honor samurai?
So usually whenever I enter like a base or something, I scope everything out and get the feel, because there's no mini map, there's nothing like that. So I want an idea of where all the enemies are at. And usually I try to sneak in, but I know I have my samurai stuff available if shit goes south. I rarely do standoffs.
Yeah.
So I mostly lean in towards the ghost side. I do enjoy that freedom of I don't have to sneak in here. I can just wipe them all out with my samurai ability. But what's interesting is like whenever you do go into a base and you have one guy that spots you, it doesn't alert the whole base. So if you take out that one guy, you're good. So if you do try to sneak in and someone sees you, you're like, well, damn, now the whole base is alerted. No, you take out that guy and you still can go around and sneak. I love that.
And I just unlocked this ability that allows me to sneak up to people and like basically do a stab, like kill two, like in one fell swoop, essentially. I haven't done the one. There's also one that you can unlock 3 at a time. I was like, that's pretty sick. You walk into a mission, and chances are you're either following somebody, you're following footprints, or you're attacking a base and just like killing everybody that's there. It's like there's very simple formula to pretty much every mission that you do, but the complexity to the play style of your character, I think, is really interesting, and the story and the lore. I mean, some of the dialogue and like side quests and stuff like that is kind of silly. So there's all these different characters, but they all have tales that like, you can do the first of their quest, but then there's like a story that they kind of lead into that's not part of the main quest, but like the one, especially with the archer that you meet early on, who like had that person that he was training who ended up joining sides with the Mongols. And then so you have the first tale that tells you like, here's the setup to this, and you can continue down that path of the next 9 quests to learn and get eventually to fighting against that person and taking them down or whatever. And I really like that these quests aren't just like one-offs. I mean, there's a few one-offs that are here and there, but to get to know these characters more that are eventually going to help you in the main story, you can go on these other side quests that have long tail, stories that give you more insight into who they are as people.
I agree with you. I mean, those quests are really awesome to really dive into some of the backstory of what's happening on the island and how the Mongols have changed everybody. And then I remember you had mentioned, Brett, that the more you do ghost stuff, the weather actually kind of changes more towards that as it gets more rainy more often. And so I didn't know if going into this Act 2 and looking into the distance, like there was rain clouds and stuff like that.
I love that effect of the more you do ghost effects or the ghost attacks, that thunder and lightning and stuff starts to appear, and just the world reacts to what you're doing. Usually games like this are super daunting for me. Just with, I mean, there's a lot to this game. There's the quest, there's finding all the fox dens and the shrines and the haiku places and the healing things, and there's all these things to discover. And then you also have the upgrade system. So like you have all your gear that you can change out, and the gear has its own pieces of upgrades. Your weapons do. You have the charms that you can load out that give you different perks and abilities. There's so many pieces to it. I get it all, and it all makes sense to me. It doesn't seem like a mess.
There's definitely little things pulling you this way or that way. These are just like little things that you know are going to help you along the way and like earning you towards something. And it's not that hard to just go off the beaten path and it's rewarding to do those things. It's cute to pet the fox. Get an extra charm slot. Like it's worth doing it, and it's not too much of a pain to go and complete those things.
Yeah, I totally agree. Whenever I play the game, I don't use my horse at all. I walk everywhere I go. Like that whole game.
Wow.
I walked it. I just didn't like using the horse. I love the scenery, and I love just walking and discovering things because I found missions. I don't know if you guys have found this yet, but there's missions in there that's not even marked. They're like stranger missions. And
Like
I
talking to
found
random
two
people,
of
you
them.
mean?
Yeah, just talking to random people, and they give me a mission, but it's not marked on the map or
Yeah.
anything. It just
Wow.
happens. I talked to a monk, and he's just like, "Oh, there's a disease going around, and this guy ran away. You have to stop him, burn the body so the disease doesn't spread." I was like, "Okay, cool." It didn't give me a marking. It didn't pop it up on the objective board. So I had to follow this blood trail. I finally found him, burned his body, came back up to the monk, talked to him, and I didn't get any experience for it. It was just like, "Okay, thanks, man." I was just like,
Really?
Wow.
Man,
what
usually
the
get
fuck?
something like on the
So
legend upgrade, but
yeah, I thought it was a glitch or something, but I ran into another mission that was really weird, but I accomplished it and nothing came from it. I enjoy going out there and uncovering the map and discovering the fox dens, doing the bamboo strike, and finding the little towns that have nothing in it and trying to find resources because I run into little encounters, I guess I would call them, with the game. And like I said, I walk everywhere. I just love the scenery so much. It feels so nice.
there was this one mission I was doing up in the north, or the first piece of the island. When I went up there, I found a person that had another quest that I followed up through, and I found a Mongol camp that I hadn't uncovered yet that I was like, sweet, I can get that. And then it opened up the map more. What's interesting too that I found is that they give you more reason to go back and backtrack. Or I got into Act 2, started opening up that island. But then I hadn't uncovered the new like settlement base in the next set of the island area. And I had a gift at the altar back at the previous like main base. So I went back to that, and there was like 3 new quests I could pick up from the people in that area that wasn't there before. Well, that's our recap and look at Ghost of Tsushima. Very exciting.